Brian Battle, Vice President at Performance Trust Capital Partners, with us now from the CME. And Brian, I'm just watching the Dow, and we're inching ever closer to that 10,000 level.
Right, we're going to lose 10,000 today, and there's going to be a fight at 1050. We're about 1048 right now, 1045. There's going to be a fight there. There is a big gap between here and 1010 on the S&Ps, but that's a long way. That'll be a huge, gigantic move, and you're right. It'd take a tsunami to move that there in less than one session. We were here last week talking about 1100 on the S&P, so
right.
The trend has begun to get back to itself because Ireland was downgraded. The thing that wasn't mentioned yet is the Greek debt has widened out to 900 over the Bund on the 10-year. So we're about 930 on Greek debt on 10s. The record is like 975. So the European stimulus, the European bank test, seems to have lost its efficacy in a matter of 2 or 3 months. So the pressure in Europe, pressure here, and we've come out with economic numbers. This looks like the downtrend, the channel is going to continue. It's going to be very dangerous.
Right. It seems like there's sort of parallel concerns now about what's going on in Europe, and then that being played out as well here in the U.S.
And in the stock market,
right.
We said this earlier, there's only 5 stocks in the Dow that are still in positive territory for the year, and a couple of them are these names that are tied to the durable goods story. A Caterpillar, for example, and these are names, or a Boeing, and these are names where if you do want to take some money off the table, you can take some off, and they're still up for the year. I mean, that's some of the thinking out there.
Yeah. What do you make of it? No, go ahead.
No, Betty, I was going to say exporters are going to do well because the U.S. is going to try and we have an official strong dollar policy. Really, we don't have a strong dollar policy, so that will help your exporters. That's the story there on Dow, or on Boeing and Cat.
Yeah, and exports are kind of like this last hope, I guess, for the economy, because we know, because consumer, we can't rely on consumer spending. This whole inventory restocking story is pretty much done with, right? I mean, it's coming to an end, and that actually reflected in these durable goods numbers. So it's really exports, and I mean, how often is an economy going to come out just on exports in the U.S. here?
Yeah, the economy is going to, we still have a problem in the U.S. economy. Don't forget, GDP is a composition of gross domestic product for the whole country. We still have a housing problem in some of our biggest states. Illinois, California, New York to a lesser degree. And then you start with Florida, Arizona, Nevada, smaller markets. But the states still have big problems, so that dictates the country will have big problems. We have a slow growth story here in the states, and we have worked our way up to about a 6% savings rate. The Germans have 11% savings rate. So we've gone from 0 to 6.
Right.
We still have a long way to go. There's a lot of leverage that has to come off, a lot of debt that has to be paid off.
So then where do you take cover in this market then, Brian?
Yeah, I think the place to be is in oil. We're always going to need oil. I don't care what Greens tell you about the wind or the ocean tide or anything. For the foreseeable future, we're going to need oil. So if you have exploration, refining, and distribution, you go to XOM or you go with Royal Dutch Shell.
Brian, that may be
that's
the
a great place to be.
Brian, that may be the case, but oil is down about 13 bucks in 2 weeks. You still want to buy oil at this point?
Yes. We're going to buy the downtrend. Oil will feel better in the longer term, and here's why. Inflation, as measured by the CPI, is an aggregate number. We're going to have inflation in real commodities, stuff that you need, and we're going to have deflation in housing. Rent equivalence in housing is a big piece of CPI. So if the Fed's just looking at the CPI number, they see deflation or no inflation, when really, when you go to the grocery store, that ice cream container just got smaller.
Brian, we'll have to leave it there.